Today in Across the Fence, join us for a celebration of aging. We'll go full circle in learning about a festival that's designed to bring all generations together in lively conversation about aging. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Plans are underway for a unique festival that's coming to the Burlington area. The Full Circle Festival is planned for April 2014 with a host of performances, exhibitions, and workshops that celebrate the growth and wisdom that come with aging. I want to welcome two guests to begin the program. Camilla Rockwell is an award-winning filmmaker and the creative force behind the Full Circle Festival. Also with us is Ted Herstand. He too is an award winner for his playwriting, which has taken him all over the country. He now lives in Shelburne. Thanks so much for being with us.
Nice to be here.
And so, for most Vermonters, this is the first time they're probably hearing about the Full Circle Festival, Camilla. You originally had the concept for Full Circle. Can you give us an overview about what it's all about?
Well, it began because 3 years ago when I turned 60, I suddenly had this feeling that there was something very important, some age I was moving into that I didn't know anything about. And I thought, why not bring people together to talk about this? It's something that our culture doesn't really like to talk about. And by using performance and art to bring people together to kind of get under our skin about it, open up our emotional parts and have discussions and workshops and look at art and have a great mix to look at the creative side of getting older.
It's interesting too because you refer to it as sort of the second half of your life.
Right, right. And you feel that there's something, it's like being a teenager for me right now. I know I'm not what I was, I don't know what I'm going to be, but it feels very significant. And what are the possibilities as I get older, not just what ways am I going to be diminished, but how might I still continue to grow?
And how about for you, Ted?
Yes, it's the same thing. I'm past 60. I'm in my 80s. But it's an adventure. And I think it's important to realize this continuum, which starts when you're a kid and keeps moving on, and time just moves on, you move on, and there's always a new horizon possible. It's a fascinating life, really.
And so we were looking at the events scheduled throughout the weekend, and it's really a diverse offering. Can you tell me about who you see as the audience for Full Circle?
Well, we wanted to have something for everyone. We really want it to be intergenerational. So people coming with their children, there will be activities for them. We want to bring into the mix nursing students and social workers and caregivers, and then all of us who are heading into our older years, and really have a nice mix of artists and people in the medical profession to educate each other, to ask each other questions and share our perspectives. It gets really into a rich conversation that way.
Why do you think it's important for younger people to be part of this?
Because younger people are aging too.
That's right.
They don't think about that, but if you look on our website, we interviewed people from the age of 7 to 87 about aging. And what surprised me was, even though we don't like to talk about it too much in our culture, everyone we interviewed really did want to talk about it. The 7-year-old, yes, the person in their 20s, the person in their 40s, they all had a different perspective. And it was very interesting how that perspective on aging changes as you go through your life. So it's fun to hear all the different generations, how they talk about it.
Now, Ted, you're a playwright, and you'll be performing your one-man show as part of the
yes,
weekend. Tell me what that show's about.
Well, it's interesting. The show has in it what some of the things that I've been working on in a lot of plays. It's yet another attempt to find something inside a human, or humans, when I have multiple characters, this only has one, that reveals what it is to be human. No matter what the age. And that's one of the things that I try to do with this play. And it's an interesting man that I deal with. He's in his 80s. He's a combination probably of a lot of people that I've known over the years, for many years. And I find in him something that triggers a very, very clear look at what's inside and how he comes to recognize what the world is like from his new view at his age. And I think it's very, it's not just instructive. I hate to use the word instructive, but I think it communicates to audiences, young, middle-aged, old, some of the things that they're going through in different ways, but related to what he's gone through.
Can you give me an example of maybe one of those things?
Well, he meets a crisis in this play before the play starts, and we know about what it was, and he's come face to face because of it with some of the things that happened in the past that were missed opportunities or lost opportunities, and he has to deal with it. And in facing them, he sees the inevitability of time as the factor. And this time element affects everybody, from children to teenagers to middle-aged people to old people. And the realization of what time means comes to all of us. And in it, he faces it. It's humorous, it's sad, it's touching, it's warm, it's funny in spots, because humor is probably one of the most human things there is that reveals who we are. There's more truth sometimes in humor than there is in our serious discussion. And so I think this kind of thing appeals to people, and they begin to see the inner being of themselves, no matter what the age.
Interesting. Camille, how did you select the various events for this weekend?
Well, just looking at a human being, I'm very interested in human development. We all are, have an intellectual approach to things, an emotional approach, a physical approach, and a spiritual approach. So there's something for all of those aspects of a human being in the festival. And it's in a first night style format. You can't do everything. So you need to look at the program ahead of time and decide which plays you want to go to, which films you want to see, which talks you want to listen to, which panels you want to be part of the discussion. Dance performances, musical events. So just, you need to know what is your greatest interest at the time, and we wanted to have something for everyone.
Can you give me some examples of who's going to be there?
Well, besides Ted doing his one-man show, there will be David Oldfield will be coming up from the Midway Center for Creative Imagination in Washington, D.C. Social Band from Burlington will be doing a whole set of musical pieces. Lyda Winfield will be doing an intergenerational dance piece. There'll be a whole series of films. There'll be writing, and the VNA, one of our sponsors, has taken a very creative approach. Instead of doing a lecture or a PowerPoint about what their mission is, they commissioned a play by playwright Maura Campbell about caregiving. So that's an example.
What a great idea.
Yeah. And one of our other main sponsors, Burlington Health and Rehab, has set up a whole canvas already at their facility, and their staff and their patients are making a collage together over the months before the festival, and it will be shown at the festival. So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Lyda Winfield. She's a performing artist who specializes in dance, choreography, and storytelling. She's taught in places as close as Burlington and as far away as the Netherlands. Her goal, she says, is to make the performing arts accessible and tangible for all individuals, communities, and populations. And Lyda kindly agreed to join us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Now, you're 30-something, I'm guessing, so aging isn't exactly something that you probably spend a great deal of time talking about. So how do you see yourself working in this format?
Well, it's interesting. I actually do think about aging, as I think we actually all do. Maybe not necessarily in the context of getting old, but I do think about it in relationship to growing and to changing and to life lessons and to sort of what's appropriate at what times. And I think we all do, right? Be it that you're 6 to 7 or that you're 70 to 80, that you're thinking about place of life. And so this opportunity in this performance is an opportunity to celebrate that and look at that on stage together.
And so how do you see performing arts playing a role in aging?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think part of what the performing arts does, so meaning dance and theater, storytelling, spoken word, it allows audiences to see themselves through performers and to hear stories and to see bodies of different degrees and backgrounds on on the stage together, and that opportunity helps all of us think differently about who we are and who each other are. So in that way, it feels totally appropriate that Camilla thought about the arts really being the center of Full Circle. And I think not just the performing arts, but the visual arts do that too, right? That it's a way to share our stories.
I think it's interesting because it's actually asking people to really start thinking about this and to participate, which is, I think, one of the goals.
Right, right. And here in Vermont, there's a huge aging population, so it's not like it's going to go away. You know, it's something that we all need to be thinking about and maybe taking a new approach to, instead of finding it depressing. You know, seeing what's available, what's open for us as we age.
Go ahead.
The piece that that Camilla asked me to create for the Full Circle will be, the youngest person will be 5 and the oldest person will be in their mid-70s. And part of what my hope is that not only will it be a great experience for the audience, but that it will also be a great experience for this community, right? So those 15 people that get to know each other then and work together in this artistic format, that will be life-altering and a fabulous experience for them, right? So that's also part of this work.
Do you think people of different generations don't realize how much they all have in common?
I think that's probably true, and I know for myself, sometimes working in isolation when I'm doing films in the editing room, just working on this project has been a great education for me. One of the things that we're bringing to Full Circle is the Tech for Tomorrow from South Burlington High School, and these students are going to come and bring laptops and be available for people like me who need help.
How do I get this picture on Facebook?
Right, exactly. Navigating technology. So they're going to be available for a 3-hour workshop for anybody to walk in who wants to get help. And just meeting those young people has been amazing for me, and kind of opened up ways of looking at the different generations. I love that we're all coming together and going to have this way of connecting.
I think, you know, our society thinks that, you know, you go to high school, you maybe go on to college, you work, you have a family, your children grow up and leave, and then you're supposed to retire.
Right.
Stop and just relax and retire. But that's not how it works.
Well, not necessarily, and I think that's partly what this is about, is what are the possibilities that happen in our later years, and what are the creative elements that we might want to develop that we haven't had time to in the past. And this isn't about pretending that we're 40 when we're 70. It's really about what's the wisdom that develops out of your experience as you get older, and how can you make good use of it and keep it growing and keep growing.
You know, this seems unique to me because, I mean, when you talk about, we've done various programs on different events that are coming up, and it's, you know, an event for this particular part of our society or event for that particular part of the society. So this includes everybody. Is that unique?
I don't know, but I mean, I think the direction, at least for me, that I'd like to go. When I was looking at the covers of the last 2 films I did, one was a child playing in nature, and one was an old, beautiful image of an old woman dying in bed. And I realized, oh, I'm really looking at, or I really want to look at the full circle of life, the whole life cycle, and find all of it interesting and valid. Exploration, not just one, not just when we're young.
And was this hard to put all this together as far as this concept and to get people on board and to get sponsors and people who want to participate?
It feels to me as if the idea was kind of hanging in the air, waiting to be plucked. Everybody seemed to recognize it and want to be engaged. So we're still completing our sponsorship, but all the sponsors that have come on are very excited about it. And when I talk about it with people, it's their eyes seem to light up. It's like, what a fresh idea, what a new idea. Yeah, let's go out and play and have some fun together around this.
Well, Full Circle is planned for April 11th through the 13th, 2014. Are there opportunities to get involved if people want to?
Yes, our website is up, and we are developing a page. It's hopefully going to be up soon for volunteers to sign on. There'll be lots and lots of volunteer opportunities because this will be in venues throughout downtown Burlington, from Memorial Auditorium, Contoy's Auditorium, Flynn's Space, Main Street Landing, the Seba Gallery. So there'll be lots of places for people to go and to volunteer.
Any idea how many people you think you're going to
We're hoping for at least 2,500 people to participate in one or all of the events that they can in a 2-day period. This will be a Saturday full of performances and Sunday with lots of panels and discussion groups and films going all weekend and art exhibits, and music and dance.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in and talking about it. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I hope so, it will be.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.
For a video copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-ATF-3430. Across the Fence is brought to you as a public service by University of Vermont Extension and WCAX-TV.